my channel. It's just Gabby. Today I'm going to be sharing with you 5 tips that help me pass the Nclex RN. Stay tuned. A lot of you guys are not going to like this, but tip number 1 is to cut out all social media. You have to cut off all distractions temporarily. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. Delete all distractions. Coupe tout bagay. Tip number 2, make sure your study plan is on point. I have 2 boys, and sometimes it was hard for me to make sure that I was able to study the amount of hours that I wanted to study. So I broke it down into a 24-hour time frame. I took away the sleep, took away the time it takes to bring them to school, took away everything, but I made sure that I studied every single day. I'm a visual person, so I want to show you guys a breakdown of what I did and how I made sure to incorporate studying every day. Let's go check it out. Okay, so really simple. We all have 24 hours in one day. So I go ahead and subtract 8 hours of sleep off bat, so we're working with 16 hours. During this time period, I was not working, so this is how I was able to break down my schedule. That doesn't mean that if you're working, you're not able to study. It just means that you have to schedule your day a little bit differently. This is merely an example of how I did mine. So I wake up at 4 a.m. and I have an hour to exercise. I like to do this before I wake up my kids so I can just get it out the way. So from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m., I spend that hour getting my kids ready for school, shower, brushing teeth, breakfast, and that also includes the drive to school because the school is only about 15 minutes away from my house. From 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., I'm spending that 2 hours motivating myself, affirming my goals. When I say motivating myself, I mean watching YouTube videos of people who failed the Nclex, what they did to pass, watching people who passed. It gave me inspiration. You know, I felt like, okay, if they did it, I could do it. I watched videos. I love Gary V, Tony Robbins, you know, anything that makes you feel motivated and, you know, to reach your goals. Also, I would affirm my goals, write them down. I would see them every day. I will pass the Nclex, things of that nature. So from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., this is the prime time. I'm spending these 4 hours studying nursing. I'm not doing anything else. My phone is off, out of sight. No one can reach me during these 4 hours, and I'm strictly studying for nursing. I am reading my Saunders book. I am Googling things I don't understand. I am doing my questions per day, whether it be 75 questions or 150 questions, whatever. I'm doing that during these 4 hours from 8 to 12 p.m. So now after these 4 hours, I'm extremely tired and I need to sleep. That's just me personally. I have to get in, you know, a nap. So from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. I'm sleeping to recoup from that, you know, hectic morning. So from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., these are the 3 hours that I spend going to pick up my boys from daycare, coming home, taking a shower, feeding them, and doing homework. We got everything done. They can go and relax for 2 hours while I go back to do my rationale. If I don't do the rationale the same day, then I'm never gonna do it. So I have to take 2 hours out of my day to strictly do rationale. It takes me a long time to do rationale because like I cannot move on to the next question until I know what's going on. So from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., I have an hour to wind down, do miscellaneous things, whatever it is that I need to do, talk on the phone, catch up on a show, whatever it is. And from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. is 8 hours of sleep so I can get up and do it again the next day. Now, I know this may sound extreme for a lot of people, but you're not doing this forever. You're doing this for a month or 2 months, maybe 3 months, depending on your schedule, if you have to work or not, how you have to adjust. But it's not forever. It's for a short time period so you can reach your goal. Tip number 3. Make sure that you test yourself daily and weekly. You gotta knock those tests out. You gotta test yourself every single day. You can maybe take one or 2 days off. Nah, just take 1 day off. There's no way that you can be afraid of taking a test when it's time to go in for the Nclex. So I'm gonna show you guys exactly what I mean when I say test yourself daily and weekly. Here's an example of how I scored myself to make sure I was ready for the Nclex. February 2nd, I took an exam and I scored 35% in health promotion and maintenance. Now I know that's also a weak area of mine based on the letter I got back from the Board of Nursing. So I made sure to focus in on doing questions in that particular area, and then in the following week I took another exam and I scored a 66%. On February 16th, I took an exam and scored 55% in physiological integrity. So I made sure to target in on that area when I did the questions during the week. And then the next week when I took the exam again to see how I scored, I got a 60%. So I was happy with that. On February 23rd, I took an exam and I got a 42% in psychosocial integrity. So I wanted to gear in on that topic. So I did questions on that, and then the next week I scored a 57%, and so on and so forth. So you get an idea of basically how I was able to look at my scores and improve on them. You need to make sure that you're focusing in daily, beating it in daily, day after day after day, on the areas that you are most weak. If you know it and you're getting high scores in it, then move on. So if you're weak in 3 areas, you want to spend a week on each area so your scores can slowly come up. You want to make sure that you're balanced in all areas. You don't want to be below in health promotion and maintenance, but high in another level. When you sit to take the Nclex, you want it to feel like a normal day. Also, you need to make sure that you have a good work-life balance. For some people, that means that they need to do yoga, they need to exercise. You have to make sure that you have the energy that you need to sustain the information that you're getting. You have to find out what it is that works for you. Tip number 4 is to make sure that you keep the main thing the main thing. And basically what that means is, whatever it is that you choose to use to study for the Nclex, that has to be the main focus. You do not need to be everywhere. You don't need to be all over the place. You need to focus on the main source that is helping you perform. You and I know people who have taken this test 7, 8, and 9 times and were never able to pass. You don't want that to be you. This is your time. Take it seriously. Tip number 5, and this is a big deal. You need to choose an answer and move on. Don't hesitate. Don't think about it. Just do it. You have studied so much. You graduated. You got penned. Subconsciously, you know the right answer. So when your brain sees the right answer, it's going to immediately gear towards it. Don't change your mind. Don't change the answer. Stick with it and move on. If you don't do that, you will fail. The difference between taking the test the first time and the second time was my confidence level, and the fact that I didn't tell nobody I was going to take my test this time. When I took the test the first time, I chose an answer and I would think about it and maybe I'd change it. But when I took it the second time, I chose an answer and I moved on. Like, I didn't have time. My thought process was, I am not running out of time again. Your whole family is looking at you like, where the money? Look, I have 2 kids and I was able to make it work. So there's really no excuse.